All right, hello everybody. Welcome to A Valiant Effort, or AVE Automotive. We are doing a little something different today. We're doing a solo review. I'm down with some family, and I got my hands on, thanks to my sister-in-law, I got my hands on a 2023 Volvo XC60 Ultimate. What does the typical crossover buyer want from their vehicle? Is it speed, a loud exhaust, great chassis dynamics? Speed maybe, who doesn't want speed? But let's be realistic about the target market. It's families who need space and comfort more than anything else. Volvo, thankfully, doesn't put an ugly toupee of sportiness on the bald head of a family crossover SUV. Nope, the XC60 is just fine with who it is. All right, so what we've got here, I've got the window sticker. This is a 2023 Volvo XC60 B5. It's part of their new nomenclature. This is the all-wheel drive and the Ultimate, which is the top trim, which is why this interior looks so good. It's why it has most of the options that you would want. So this particular car is the 2-liter turbocharged, which is the B5. The B6, which basically we're taking the place of the T5 and T6 from 2021. Now, Volvo already instituted this new nomenclature last year, but I figure we'd go over it because it is a little confusing. They got rid of Inscription, Momentum, or I guess it was Momentum, Inscription, R Design, and now it's Core, Plus, and Ultimate. This is the Ultimate, it's the top trim, gets all the goodies, but this is the B5, which is the least powerful engine option. I actually think that's a good thing. All XC60s, and I think every Volvo now in 2023 does have a 48-volt mild hybrid system to pair with whatever particular powertrain you get. Now the B5, that 48-volt mild hybrid system is paired with a 247 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque, and that's all coming out of a 2-liter turbocharged motor. Now, if you go for the B6, you still have that mild hybrid system, plus you get a power bump. I believe it's 315 horsepower, and that's thanks to a supercharger that is now also strapped to the engine. So we're talking about some complexity here. There's three things going on, and if you want to get even crazier, you can go for the Recharge, which takes the place basically of the plug-in hybrid and the Polestar. Those had around 400 and 415 horsepower respectively. The new Recharge, and you can still go with all the different trim levels and everything. The new Recharge is actually, it's got 455 horsepower, so it is a beast, and it has a true hybrid system. You know, the important stuff is you get this nice crystal shifter. It's quite beautiful, if I'm being honest. You get the Harman Kardon premium sound. It's great. It's a good sound system. Really clear high end. If you're an audiophile like me, I think you'll really like it. Now this has the 20-inch wheels, which does make the ride a little stiffer. So if you want a little bit of a softer ride, I would recommend, maybe getting a smaller wheel and tire. You could go aftermarket, or I believe, if you go for the different trim levels, you get different size wheels. Now this happens to be all-wheel drive. It's got an 8-speed automatic. It's good, it's fine. We'll talk about manual shifting in a bit. You've got rear heated seats, you've got air purifier, you've got memory seats, you get pilot assist, 360 view camera, you've got these beautiful wood inlays here. They're absolutely gorgeous. Volvo really nails the look of this interior. When it comes to functionality, I'm not so sure that they nailed it. Now, everything that is a button, hear that? That's delightful. Everything that you touch here is great, high quality. The piano black plastic I don't love, but these door handles are very nice. Even the window buttons, they're plastic, but they're nice. They're like Audi level plastic, I would say. Nice grille covers on the speakers up front, plastic and back. Really gorgeous. The XC60 Ultimate is expensive, but no more so than its competitors. The core model starts at a fairly reasonable $44,545 and has most of the goodies you'll need for a comfortable daily driver or family vehicle. That said, if you have nearly 60 grand as spec'd, the Ultimate with the B5 powertrain makes the cabin a really beautiful place to spend a traffic jam. Now, most of you are probably wondering what it's like to drive. Here's a hint. Performance was never the objective. but we think that's actually a good thing.
Let's just hit it. Let's just hit it here and see what it feels like. Foot to the floor. Ooh. Oh, brakes are great. Volvo brakes are great. And you know what they've done since my grandmother has a 2013 XC60. We might take a look at that at some point. The brakes on that are like, there's a dead zone and then it's like, you know, and that's too much. That's too much all at once. This is much more linear, but it's nice. It's confidence inspiring. If you're going a little too fast and you know, you're kind of like, ooh, this is nice. It's progressive, it's comfortable, and it's got a lot of power too. Now, the first thing I want to talk about here is what this feels like to drive. And it feels like every other four-cylinder car in existence as far as the powertrain and the delivery of the power. It's a 2-liter turbo. It's got that mild hybrid system, so it does have a little bit more of a kick right at the beginning. Peak torque is 1800 RPM, so this car does jump pretty quick. Yeah, like right there feels great. You know what? It actually reminds me a lot of the Taos that we reviewed, the 22 Taos. And this is faster than the Taos for sure, but it's got a similar feel. Now the Taos had the variable geometry turbo. This has got the mild hybrid system. It's a decent engine. Reliability, we don't know yet really. This engine, it's been around for a few years now, 5 to 7 years. Unfortunately, I haven't heard all good things. So, we're not talking about the old 5-cylinder, which is basically bulletproof, except for 13 to 16, where they had that oil consumption issue, which my brother actually had on his XC70, which is why he now owns a Lexus. So, now, manual mode here. Okay, that's actually not bad. I'm almost impressed. Let's see how it downshifts in the second. Okay. It kind of had like a little DSG fart. Okay, so straight to the point, it's not fast, but it's swift. It doesn't feel slow. It doesn't feel sluggish. It's more than enough power. Why you would want to add the complexity of the supercharger or go for the crazy 455 horsepower? I mean, if you want power, this isn't your car. Dynamically, the steering's very direct, but it's very... You literally don't. I mean, you can't feel anything through the wheel, which, in a luxury car is nice. And I will say this. This car is luxurious. That's what it's set out to do. It's not set out to be some sort of sporty car. I mean, it's not a half-assed attempt at being both sporty, performance, and luxury. And they just stick to the luxury. You've got the nice materials. I will say these seats, I haven't even really messed around with them much yet. I might, there's a lot going on here. So these seats, very nice, absolutely gorgeous to look at. You've got the little Swedish flag there on the side. I mean, you got a lot of adjustability, and it's not crazy, but and it's on the screen too, so that's kind of interesting. So they're very, very comfortable, very supportive. I feel at ease when I jump into this. It's a very nice place to be, and you have to give Volvo credit for that. It's a little bit of a minimalist style here, and they've nailed the interior, I think, as far as materials and the comfort of the seats. You've got the heated wheel. It's great. It really is. It's a relaxing car to drive. I would love to commute to work in something like this every day.
This is a car James May would be proud of. Not because it's particularly good, but because it's not attempting to be 5 things at once. All Volvo set out to do was build a luxurious and comfortable crossover suitable for daily driver duties. And you know what? They succeeded. Now, this doesn't mean the XC60 comes without flaws. In fact, its biggest issue might just push you into the arms of a competitor.
The big downfall of the interior is the infotainment. I could care less about the gauge cluster being more configurable than it is. I know some people care about that. I don't know how much the average consumer does. You guys can let me know in the comments if you consider yourself the average consumer. But this screen... It's not good. I don't like it. Now, I don't know what other reviewers are saying about it. I don't know what the consensus is about this, but my honest thought is that it just kind of sucks. So there's a button at the bottom that you can get yourself right to climate control, but then you still have to do everything on the screen. There's not even like a sort of weird attempt at, a slider or a haptic touch thing. It's literally all on the screen, and when you're moving around, it's hard to get to. Ultimately, once you're used to it, I'm sure it's not that bad. But I just, when you have so many cars that have, the same or better powertrains or similar comfort, the quality here is really great, but, Audi has buttons. Audi has buttons in their cars. A lot of car companies these days have buttons, and I just think that that's important. When you're talking about safety, this is Volvo we're talking about here. These are the safe guys, and they're making me look at this screen and fumble through buttons just so I can adjust how hot my butt is. I don't understand it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm sure it's cheaper to do, but at the end of the day, it's not what I would prefer. And if I was going to spend $60,000 on a car, I'd like some buttons for the climate control. That's just me. I think Nick would probably feel the same. But speaking for Nick here, I would imagine he would say something like, well, you'll get used to it. And if the car is good enough in every other way that you want, then don't let that keep you from buying it. But just know that you're going to have to get used to it, and it's going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to use. The only hard buttons you have are for the defrost. And you have, your hazards and everything, and you've got like a volume knob, which I appreciate, but you also, you've got the volume here. I don't know. That's the biggest downfall of this car. But everything else, exterior styling, it's a good-looking car. I think every Volvo that is out right now is a good-looking car. They're all very attractive. I love the Thor's Hammer headlights. I think it's a very sleek design. I think they're attractive. I think the XC60 is actually one of the more attractive cars that they offer, at least as far as the crossover range goes.
So look, the infotainment is bad. If you're parked, it's not horrible, I guess, but in my opinion, it's just dangerous to use while driving. Why a company like Volvo would still be doing this in 2023 is beyond me. Quite frankly, this would push me right into an Audi Q5 2.0. That has a more proven engine, an equally nice interior, and an infotainment that's intuitive and has the hard buttons needed to operate the system without crashing into a Jersey barrier. That said, credit where credit is due, it really is a solid car otherwise.
Conclusion here, the infotainment's the biggest letdown. It's not easy to use while you're on the move. In fact, I think it's outright dangerous to use while you're on the move. If you've got the climate screen already up, it's not terrible, but I feel like I'm texting. I feel like I'm texting while I'm trying to just adjust the intensity of the air hitting my face. And for a company like Volvo, I'm a little just baffled by it. What are you doing? Everything else, though, I think is great. I think this is a really competent SUV, a crossover, whatever it is. It gets decent mileage. I think it's actually the best in its class, so maybe I should say it's a little better than decent. It probably has one of the nicest interiors. I would take this over a BMW any day. I think I prefer Audi. A big surprise coming from this channel, but I think it's a really nice car. It's obviously very safe. There's nice storage in the back. The back seats are comfortable, and if you get this ultimate, if you want to spend $60,000 on this car, I mean, I'd rather get a 981 Cayman S manual, but whatever. I don't know if it's worth 60 to me, but cars are so expensive now, and this, as good as it is, it has a lot of stiff competition. In fact, honestly, the Q5 is the one that I keep looking at and thinking, I think I would go for that over this. But if you're a Volvo guy, I don't think that these are going to be super unreliable, although recently my sister-in-law had a head gasket issue on her V60, and that has the same motor, although it doesn't have the mild hybrid setup.
Though a car that can do everything is nice, a family crossover only has to do two things right: space and comfort. The Volvo nails those, and you can add luxury to the list too. This might just be the most relaxing car to drive in its class, and that's quite impressive given how competitive the compact luxury crossover segment is. Volvo has truly put forth a worthy entry into the segment. That said, if you want better infotainment, get the Q5, and if you want performance, get a Macan. However, if you want to escape from the outside world on your daily commute, the XC60 might be your best bet.